Hey, what's up guys? Shiko here with another video for Blue Protocol. With the closed beta test ending soon, I wanted to share some tips I found while playing that new players starting in October might find useful. Alright, let's get started with the first one. First up, we have character creation codes. This will allow you to import or export your characters for ease of creation. So whenever you start up a new character, if you head up to the bottom left, you'll see the import and share buttons. By clicking the share button, you'll be able to click two buttons, either to share code, which will give you a hex code to your clipboard, or share, which will give you a QR code that you can download for later. Whenever you're ready to import, you can click the import button and either paste that hex code into that top bar or import your QR code. Something important to note is that you must be on the correct character type in order to import, but once you do, clicking the import button and hitting the code will give you the character you want. This next tip is for my story skippers out there. Whenever you're in a cutscene, you may be prompted to hold F to skip, although after a few cutscenes this does take up some time. So instead, you can hit the escape button and automatically and quickly skip the cutscene in a flash. And for those who aren't skipping the story, this does become useful whenever you're in dungeons who have cutscenes, as skipping it will get you straight into the battle. For tip number 3, we'll be discussing about the Quickwheel, which is a quick way to enact actions in-game. It is accessible by holding the T button and becomes customizable when pressing Q. Right now the game supports adding poses, emotes, preset phrases, quick travel stations, and consumables, and in order to add those to the Quickwheel, players can just click and drag onto 3 different presets. This will become super handy as navigating through the menu to find the right emote can be quite cumbersome, and with in-game events such as dance parties, customizing the wheel will turn anyone into a dancing aficionado. This next tip will be going over item sources. When clicking on an item, the game has handy options that players can choose from in order to see where the item can be obtained or what it's used for. Clicking Obtain Through will present extra options that when clicked can redirect the player to places like stores or trading centers to obtain them, and in some cases, if the player has redeemables, they can be prompted to open and get the item right then and there. When players click Use For, they can also see the stats and item description without having to navigate to the vendor. This can be helpful for players to navigate and obtain materials quicker, whether it be for life skills, Will Imagines, skill trees, or fashion hunting. For tip number 5, let's discuss buffs and debuffs. When you're engaged in combat, you'll want to pay attention to the icons and cast bars next to your skills. They indicate useful information such as ready to use procs, buffs from skills or imagines, or party buffs and how long they last. You can hold your Alt to move your cursor and click on any of these buffs to see their descriptions. In dungeons, this can be super useful to see debuffs in their cast bar, which are indicated by their gray icon background and purple timer. Keep an eye out in order to turn the tides. And for the final tip, the chat options. This can be accessed by clicking on the cog icon, and the first menu presents it will be the main chat window. When edited, will reflect changes on the overworld chat bar on the bottom left. This can be super useful as turning off world chat or adding systems so that you can see loot drops from mobs. However, the game does offer something known as the bullet screen. Customizing this will allow certain messages to flow from right to left across your screen, which is super handy to seeing messages during combat, so I recommend making it slower and less transparent to make sure you're not missing crucial information. Thanks for watching. I hope these tips were useful for when the game releases on October. And as always, have a great day!